are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple discovered milk. You know what? I always wondered about that. Like, who legit looked at a cow, looked at the udder, and said, I had to partake and see what that tastes like. Like who? And then how did they convince other people to participate in the same thing they did? Like, I just want to know. I just want to know how that happened. How's it going, everybody? My name is JazzyGuns. Bang, bang, gang, gang. Let's get back into this game. Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright Trilogy. I said that wrong, but it's okay. Not sure how long this is going to be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be as long as a Marvel movie. So make sure y'all get y'all snacks and get your water. Stay hydrated while watching this, because I know this is going to be a long trial. Let me not say that at the beginning of let me not cuss at the beginning of this video. Oh my God. But before I dive in, make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like for your girl, from the social medias, all that stuff, and let's begin. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back, so allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Yep, all right, here we go. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner. I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly across intersections when needed. Yes, you get it. It said, oh, I know, you're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. It was a howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. So now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the paper, partner. He said, what do you mean? He said, a desperado soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. He said, maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Yes, can we? Because every time I do that voice, it's low-key making it scratchy. He said, please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English, it's gonna be the most complicated. This is gonna be the most complicated testimony that you have to read. Okay. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchid. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. He says, so if you gonna shoot, then shoot. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. So what do you mean by 2 security systems? Said I mean a security system cameras and an ID. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you know about those. I said, yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? See, he's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? So this one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Okay, let's just press everything. Just press everything. Okay. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recording. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time will come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual was recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Oh, so each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. So this guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. So, but you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. He said, no desperados I know join the police force. So Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. He said there was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. I haven't been in that secret than weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Right, how is he guarding it? Okay, so let's press this again. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day, my locker was a gold line of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. So that's quite incredible. The sensors in the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel Steak lunches can beat the parlor's Vongo Sepia pasta. I said, do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Judge, didn't you stop a trial almost so you could each finish eating your sushi plate or whatever the fuck you had? Right, okay, stop playing. I said, not all desperados eat tacos, partner. I said, that's not what I meant. I hope this had at least taught you a lesson. And that's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, did you not want to raise this year? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? I said, that's right, partner, or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. Listen, one thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card on my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. I think we could present him, because wasn't your hand on it? I think this was his, right? Yeah, Marshall's fingerprints. Okay. There we go. So, Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. Explain your freaking handprint. It says quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene, or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that grip. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there. Nope. Only wish you were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Right, you get blood every day? You get blood once a month like a period? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? Ooh, so it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. Ooh, so I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Okay, how you gonna cover that up, sir? So like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness' explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Oh my God. The defense may now cross-examine. Okay, this guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Is it now's my chance to prove it? All right, let's get him. So that's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? So yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Okay, so it's been updated. Found in a bloody handprint. Okay. So then, about the bloody handprint. It wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. Oh, it just so happened? That's it? The chances of that happening are 1 in a million. Are a million to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are a million to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Why? You're not telling us. Why? Is it unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and oh, come on. He said one's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. So I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. wearing gloves. I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on the handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? Is it the picture? Is it the steal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards? He said there's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony. Nah, let's present the video, because... Can we? Or is that wrong? He said, Your Honor, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything. God damn it. Oh my God. I know what I'm trying to say. Oh my God. I know what I'm trying to say. He said, you want to tie me to this crime. Isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. So that's why I try to present it. He said, but that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on camera. True. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Let's try. Let's try. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Okay. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this So how come that still gave me it wrong, right? When I said that the video was, you know what, whatever. I guess I did it at the wrong motherfucking time. I guess that's it. Wasn't there like something sticking out of that first locker? Okay, that fell, so I don't think that's it. And that's when he got his ass beat, yep. And we can't see nothing because the goddamn thing that freaking Gumshoe made. Continue, yeah, he's folded. And then dude got out without being seen. So, pause it. Wait a minute. Cause what's that? He said, bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. He said, the days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? You're guilty. He said, very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. So the key lies in a certain blocker shown in the video. Because there wasn't something there before when we looked. And then we looked back and it was there. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. And let's speed it up, because I'm getting tired of seeing this thing's face. Like, can we speed it up, please? Look. Said, oh, the white cloth is gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Because you're the only one that could open it, correct? He said, it would seem that, hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. Huh? So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened. Nah, it is. He said the murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. I said, why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Because there's no way for that locker to be open without your prints. Come on now. He said, this guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. He said, I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. He said, oh yeah, I'll call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Oh, okay. I surely can. Okay, there we go. Man. It's a fingerprint sensor. Yes, sir. He said, we talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. So what kind of crazy talk is this? He said, well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Ooh, okay, Phoenix. What? He said, I only got 1 word for you, partner. No. Oh, your heart stopped? What happened? What happened? It's a witness. Explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. Yes, I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. It's an Olay. Olay? Please answer the question. It said, what is he now? Right, that's what I'm saying. Are we in a bullfight? It said, that's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. He was over here. So where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Like, here, right? Right? So Officer Marshall was standing right here. So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory. Your chamber's empty, partner. Better reload. Oh, are you serious? Bruh, are you serious? Come on, yo. Where else? Alright, because I'm thinking that, like, the victim couldn't have seen him because he's, like, on this side. But was he on that side? I don't know. Take that! I don't know. So Officer Marshall was standing right here. He said there, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Oh, I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. Ooh. He said, but that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Yes, but he didn't really see his face. He was getting too busy, like, getting beat up. So, like, not really. So once he saw the man's face, he knows for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction because something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. So as you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? So you've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? You're gonna have to do better than that to break detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim? I said, well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I said, I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert beat. I said, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Oh? What? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. Oh? I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. So I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think his locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. So which means he didn't originally plan to open the locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. Maybe it was the stuff that jacket, that white jacket he was wearing, because it's a white cloth. The fact a white cloth is sticking out the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is only shot. I think the white cloth is the coat, right? So after committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness... Damn, I couldn't even read the damn... Oh, Lord. I couldn't even read it. And it's not the glove. Because we found the glove. So it wouldn't be that. So let's... wait. Hold on. Let's, Can we pause it? Can we present his coat? Take that! Can his coat be it? He said, well, what do you have to say to that? He said, all right, partner. You really want to know the reason I had to open my locker? Why? So I could stuff you in there, huh? He said, I'm sure the world would be a better place if you set off the boneyard. He said, unfortunately, unsolved cases can't be stored in the evidence room. Oh my God, bro. I know what I'm trying to say. I know what I'm trying to say, bro. And it's so annoying because, like, I know the answer, but it's like I have to be, like, exactly correct on the timing of this video in order for me to get it correct. So, like, I know what I'm talking about. Hold up. There we go. Take that! Is that good? It said, for some reason you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman and enter the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. He said, yet? However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. That's what I was trying to say. But yet I didn't say it at the right time, so I got it wrong. So now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. Huh? I said 2 years ago. If you were only as half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. All right, it seems the time has come. All right, so let's get to it, okay? I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. Listen, it's way too much blood for a small donation. When you say it, you mean, so do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end when the transferred that day. So not if I had anything to do with it. The incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? He said, when the case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filing out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open the locker yourself. But you could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means oh shit. I didn't get to bring it back because it went so damn fast. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. So when did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. But, by the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? Oh, so that's the same one? He said, I don't know what to say. He said, so you knocked Officer Meekins out, and he said, so you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was that Officer Meekins doing during that time? He said, what else? He was sleeping like a baby. Oh my God. The blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. It said, what are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where's that evidence? It's still missing. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. He said, just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. He said, why did you do this? Stealing a Texas ID, injuring a police officer, this is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. So like I said, this isn't your case, this one is mine. So this is personal to him, obviously. But we gotta figure out, like, why. Like, we know he was involved, but, like, why is he going so hard? So, and I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. He said, the witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? So that's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial, something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. I said, why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files. This? Objection! There we go, thank God. Said, Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I had the SL9 incident file here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall, are you related to... Oh, maybe that's his dad. Oh, Neil Marshall. Said, yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. Oh. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now remember, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my bro. Aw, that's his brother. Aw, they look so alike. They really do. I almost thought that was him in the photo. Almost. Said he was investigating the murders of Damon Gant, then Deputy Chief of Police. Said the group of detectives I was part of worked under him. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark, my brother, fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark had left behind any evidence. That's all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case is finally closed, at least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. He said, well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. He said, not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. And yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place in the police department that day. Obviously, I mean, I think we know that right now, y'all. Things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Is it chance? It's gotta be just more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one, which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Scott. No, she didn't. Come on now. Come on, you know that. You know that. You know that. He said, but wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But he said there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me the boys got to draw on you, partner. Look, Marshall, shut up. Shut up. Get out of this, okay? We are done with you now. okay? So all the mysteries at the police department had been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Scott. The testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Right. Yeah, rest my case. How you gonna tell me how many words I should say? It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. So there's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. So now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Please no. Thank you. Oh, she's taking a stand? So, Your Honor, wait. Emma, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection, right? What do you mean, right? It said, oh, right. Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? In a sense. So, please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Oh, well, thank you, Edgeworth. Thank you. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings, now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky's sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day, so I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker, but no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured out if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. Oh, so did you find something? No, so what? So why'd you bring it up, Emma? Why'd you bring it up? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Oh, Lord. So what we doing? Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. Okay, get her off the stand. Get her off the stand and let her just be in the audience, okay? What we doing here? What we doing? And I'm just an attorney. So, but Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh, God. Come on now. So time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any responsible doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. So looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more abused, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be. Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I needed to concentrate, it's now. Oh, Jesus. So what could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Yes. Objection! I think. It said this handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. Only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. So let's pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plan? Oh, Jesus. Well, that's in the room, so let's make clear of that. That's there. Take that! Right? Yes, it was music design. So what about that piece of plywood? Yep, it said the Blue Badger, mascot of the police force, defender of the truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. He said, well, what? He said, that's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it will be impossible to place a handprint at the spot on the locker. Because how'd you get behind it? So that means just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces are undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. He said, Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. How'd she get back here so fast? On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that means this blood mark was left there before the blue badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not be allowed such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? The one time was captured on his tape taken by the security camera. Yep. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is the other time that we don't know about. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. So that's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found in the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, it said, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in the evidence room. That's right, the blood mark from the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us, when did the first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? Show what shows when the first crime took place. Okay, I think it's this, right? Because what is it? Oh Lord, it's not this. It's not the fucking base. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. That said the crime took place inside the evidence room. The killer would have had to enter it. In order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh. So Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel into the evidence room. And so let's see, at 4:50. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40. Oh. It said, and Miles Edgeworth. It said, I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Oh my god. It said, drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Then nope, I ain't getting it. It said, I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just had 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, it is physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's take a look at the chart again. There's only one other card remaining. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with whoever's number that is. He said, please, Mr. Edgeworth, look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777. Right. So that's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of the ID card, at least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Yo, it's Orange Man, okay? It's Overtan Sun Man, Thor's brother, the Orange Man. Like, come on now. It said, someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. It said, but that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted, an official charge, you're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I mean, they gotta do what they gotta do to get it done. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. He said, let me ask a question. No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not that. So don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really use legitimate evidence? Oh? Did she? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution of that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. So maybe she did. Because I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized that we were being the ones being suppressed by the law, defendant, just what are you saying? She's saying that she forged some stuff. She's saying that she went over the line and she broke the law to do what she had to do. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence to the court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Ooh, so why don't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to do in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. Ooh, so she did. This is why people hate them. This is why people hate the prosecutors. Everybody's disappointed. See? He said, that's what I'm talking about. He said, no. Everybody that he looks up to that he forges. Everybody. Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom, oh man, they would have to wait till the following day. Damn. Man, all the prosecutors doing bad stuff, man. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm so sorry for what my sister said. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. So what do you mean what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Oh my God. Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you. Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I feel like we're dealing with like a million cases in one. Like this is one episode, but I feel like it's like 5 cases in one story. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall came in, and then what happened? I'll never forget it. Ooh! Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. A permanent picture. So what's that? What did you see in the instant that a crime occurred? Or what did you think you saw? The Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. But did she really see it because it was lightning? So I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma, you've been through so much. Sheesh, man, y'all need to go to therapy. Honestly. But I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. It's understandable. I mean, she's a little girl. What do you expect from her? Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But still, there's something that bothers me about that crime. I don't remember that moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that. No, I only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true, even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way from over to your sister's office? Is it because the detective offices in the questioning room are right across from the elevator? Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, she was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. So let's leave and let's go to, the detention center. There we go. All right, Lana, get to talking, girl. I said, Lana, Mr. Wright, it seems like I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? You know what? She has a point. She has a point. If they get to fight dirty, why can't we get our hands dirty? Especially if it's in the hands of justice. I'm sounding like them now. Let me stop. Listen, but Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risk. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? How about how you were a detective 2 years ago and how the SL9 incident, I'm gonna just say the incident because at this point, saying the SL9 incident over and over and over just seems like a lot. So I'm gonna just say the incident, all right? It said, was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about the unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Okay, so, come on. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believe in you, Lana. I believe that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At least at the trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said. Lana, I don't understand. Why don't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. All right, so let's talk about it. So 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office in the same investigations. They even had the same office. See, it's him, bro. Like, he looks like a villain. Look at him. He's so smug. He's over tanned. His skin is leather, just like his jackets. Like, come on. Like, he's the one. He's the one. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was a serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place, when he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us. Okay, so let's see. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So, you're the first person to run into the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Oh my God. He said, when I returned to my office, I saw there 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dart. During the struggle, it seemed Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dart had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. I mean, she's 14. I would freak out too. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant, he was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Emma really idolized her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the incident was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone was involved in this trial, also involved in that incident, just by chance. They said, but that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dart. He said life doesn't end with the closing of the case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the murder. So let's go ahead and go there. Oh, is it howdy, Bambina? He said, oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Case Sarah. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? Y'all, every time I do this voice, I gotta take a drink, yo, because it's hard. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. It's Billy? It must be his pet cactus. As I say, where are you headed? Oh, that was Phoenix. Oh, shit. My bad. It said just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. He said, but Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prosecutors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. All right, yep, give it up. Let's talk about it. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean a switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dart's, all right. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there was a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have gone concealed with forged evidence? So that case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the incident left behind. Let's talk about that. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? I said, who are you talking about? I said, don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Scott. The investigation lead, Damon Gant, and his second in command, Lana Scott. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. It's never been the same since she left. I said everyone who knew her said so. And so did Emma, so that's what she was talking about. So Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret, it all started 2 years ago. Said, I got the looks, but he got the brains. Excuse me, sir. I think the other one looks better than you. Y'all can't see it right now, but I think his brother looks better than this man right here, but that's just me. So, he was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he? Your brother? He was 27 at the time. Damn, that's my age. Oh my gosh. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor, you mean the king of prosecutors. Is I knew it. He said, what are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. He said, Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the same day as the evidence strips. Of course it is. Of course it is. Interesting. He said it was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall, there was that thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. He said, there's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Oh, at least he believes in her. Oh, that's nice. Adios, Bambina. Oh, at least he believes in her little dreams. Okay. Finally made it to his office. Sheesh. Oh, why does his office look like a whole orchestra? What the hell? Now you know he gotta be the killer now. Whose office has a whole like piano set up and everything, like he's ready to do the dum 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 like thing. Like, come on, man, come on. Look at his office. Whose office looks like this and is not available? It said, whoa, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Is I thought I was a genius. Oh, look, see, look. There go the music. There go the evil music. Is I could never remember where C was. Oh, Lord, here we go. Is it, oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. It says, so, Righto, have you been swimming lately? That paper looked like the freaking ID card stuff, so I think he was trying to forge something just now. Maybe. But no, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full, too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's proactive statement. Proactive statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? So that's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. So we took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. That vase. That vase is broken. That's the vase that we saw that was broken with blood. It's that. It's that. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Yup. That vase is broken. That vase is broken in the evidence room. You did it, bitch. What? So anyway, I like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's get out together. Oh, but this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we like to still have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Yeah, because you want to cover up the evidence, bitch, I know. It looks like we aren't welcome. It seems this case isn't over with yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? He said there's got to be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Who can we talk to? So, oh, hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? Is that I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Is it actually from serving everyone coffee? Oh man, they got you as an assistant now? Damn. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No, why do you ask? He's under the fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That basically is what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. So let's talk to him. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, a prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of it for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. He said, yes sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay Dick? Look, y'all. If y'all know anybody named Richard, call him Richard, okay? Because I really don't understand how we got the nickname Dick from Richard. Was the first Richard like packing or something? Was the first Richard like hung like a lot? Why is he called Dick? Like, how do people get Dick out of Richard? I really don't understand. I don't understand. He said, yes sir. He said, it seems you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? He said when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what is it? Oh, let's see. I think it has something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? Okay, so he's not good at his job again. All right, his powers of recollection never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Okay, so let's talk about this. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. With his car? So it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man, and a kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. But then a jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. Good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. So let's go ahead and present him with the knife, the old bloody knife. That. He said, I'm about this. He said, hey, is that? It has a tag attached to it with the label incident on it. I believe this will be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case has been closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. He said, that's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Well, what was it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? No? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it at. Plus, it had his fingerprints on it, too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see that it's broken. No shit. So you don't have to take a good look to notice that, right? Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. In the body? That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back, died from punctured heart and lung. A knife tip was in the wound. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What was it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief out now, and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. Oh, really? Oh. But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Aw. Damn. I was gonna use that. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into the office. I wonder if there's something we could show him that would make him change his mind. Let's see. About that jar, I think I've seen it somewhere before. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. This must have been the most uninformative detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gant? Where could I have seen that before? In the office, you dumbass. Oh my god. So that's the ID card record, right? Uh-huh. It's missing. It said, yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m. The victim, Detective Goodman, must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive officer number, all sevens. Said, So that one's 7 too many, Detective. An executive officer. I just might have a hunch. Executive officer. It might be Gant. That's who I think it is. So there he is. It looks like he's writing something. So what are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. It's a tough day in court, huh? I had to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. You know what? I don't either, bitch. Let's go. Listen, there's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing else I can do to erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work, so tell me why. Why is it all come down to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First, last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's why my superiors are banking on it. I never thought that this case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence, it seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That's odd. Is it after Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seems strange about it. Let's present it. Let's present it. Let's see. Let's present that picture. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes, the trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind this design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Huh? What are you talking about? He said this award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd and the second means shield. Have you heard the story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell me it, though, for Emma's sake? Look, if I don't know something, y'all, I'm not gonna lie and act like I do. Just tell me, okay? Long ago, in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd that he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Objection! He said those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, he said no you didn't. Anyway, as you mentioned, the very descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. So where did the sword part of it go? The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You have to ask Chief Gant. Oh, of course. He said 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Why was it removed? To murder someone? Maybe. He said, could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over at the station, right? I've never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving rewards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. We got presented with something else. Something else not sticking. Oh Lord, here we go. It said, would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? You know what, in this case, I feel like yes. Because we need something to bribe Gumshoe with. So if you have any food that he would like, maybe that might be useful. I don't know. To Miss Star, I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple discovered milk. You know what? I always wondered about that. Like, who legit looked at a cow, looked at the udder, and said, I had to partake and see what that tastes like. Like who? And then how did they convince other people to participate in the same thing they did? Like I just want to know. I just want to know how that happened. I wish I could get in the time machine and see it. Like I want to. Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Everyone in this trial was involved in the incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't be all attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Starr's hatred toward Lana, it all dates back to 2 years ago. So let's talk. Joe Dark, that's a name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was even more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye, my sister? The best of the best were put on that case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to track evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence, you mean? Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall, when Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr, that's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean with the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties, most without even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? By Gant? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief? That's right. Having solved the case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. Oh, keep them in his back pocket. I see what they're doing now. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he could control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how can he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Star. You listen to me, Brookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Oh, it's a letter of what? It says, if you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation? Edgeworth, you don't mean I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation, I wonder if I can use it for anything. Oh, we can use this for Gumshoe because he believes in him so much. Okay, so let's move. Let's move. He said, what's this crumpled up piece of paper? So no way, Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too, but I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we betrayed him. Detective? That's it, I've made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. You can't do that. If someone found out, they wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. All right, detective, thank you. All right, we got what we needed. Let's go. Here goes, Mr. Wright. All right, let's get in there. What if he's in there? Okay, he's not there. All right, let's look at this villainous ass fucking office, man. Lord. Listen, we're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Oh, was he not supposed to be in there? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe, what are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking, I was just worried something might go wrong, so I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card, dumbass? Listen, Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. Like, come on. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here, so I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now, come on. Let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. All right, so examine. Now, this thing was in the picture, so let's look at this. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Sure is, pal. The chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? You mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Yet. Young lady. Yet. When you become an adult, life is shit. You gotta pay tax on the air you breathe. You gotta pay tax on the water you drink. You gotta pay tax on the light. You gotta pay for everything. So you gotta pay to work. Like, it's ridiculous. Be careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to even get out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Look at the size of his desk. Speaking of that, when we were here earlier. He put that paper that he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence. In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case's name. Huh? The incident. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I want, you don't got it. No. About evidence lists. Normally, they're twice as long. So I think that this is one half of the evidence, and I think that Edgeworth has the other half of the evidence. I think that's what this is. That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half-size list of evidence, huh? What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it. Chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. It was ripped in half, so this part is all I got. All right, and the safe. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like a code needs to be entered in this panel to open it, but we don't know the code yet. A 7-digit number. I think I'm. Oh wait, I know it. I feel like I know it. Yeah, I have a hunch. I feel like I know what it is. Can we do it? 7777777. Is I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. All right, so let's input the code. So 77777777. How about that? How we know? How we know? Because they always kept saying it was one too many numbers. The bingo. The what number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? Yep, the final ID card number on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean, yep, that ID number. I think you're 17 shy this time. This could only mean one thing, that Chief's Gant's ID number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what's inside of there. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's the other part of that freaking base, man. He did it. He killed someone. He did it. He stashed it. A shard from a broken cup. This is somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen it before? There's something else in here too. What's this? Looks like a piece of leather cloth. That ain't nothing but his skin, y'all. That ain't nothing but that man's skin. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? That's all that was in the safe? Apparently, so it's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it and a broken shard from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the incident? Come on, there's got to be something we can show to the detective. Okay, the chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally, we hear him playing it from the criminal affairs department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When a detective screws up, the chief calls him to his office and makes him listen to the organ for hours. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days, except for the ring in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's besides the point. So, he be torturing people? Like, what the hell? This was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture here, then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. I bet he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? Like, right, who thinks they're gonna be dead? Like, come on now. The desk on the other side of the room, was that your sister's? Yes, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir, this is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since the incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Let's talk about the murder, okay? You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think, nah, you wouldn't be, no. No, there's a way. Never mind, don't worry about it. Okay, now then let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on, not so fast, buddy. What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you now. You don't just let it go at that. Okay, sorry. So this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Starting? He already got on my nerves early on. So what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect. No, I think he's a whole murderer, not a suspect. He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant, so it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignore me again. Look, I think that he's guilty, alright? So, let's present him with this thing. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right, one of the shards had an incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was the safe. That was in the safe. Yeah, that one. That was in the safe. I'll put it together. All right, there we go. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Okay, let's do it. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at it. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. All right. Listen, if I could piece this all together again, it'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. I'm good at puzzles, too, so let's do it. All right? That, man, I don't even have to turn it. Yeah, there we go. I only have to... Bam! It's done. There. It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached is different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Evidence, okay, from the incident, final fragment found the chief's safe, blood trail. Right. That's why I'm like, what's different? It has blood just like the rest of it. Let's see this. Oh, what is, oh, what's that? Huh. I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I'd better keep quiet about it for now. Huh? Oh, no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving out like that, Mr. Wright? I'd better not forget about this picture. So, it looks like someone sketched the killing? It's hard to make out, but there's a dark red stain here. It looks like blood. This piece the chief has is different, though. The blood stains on the other piece are just spots, but this one's a line. That is odd. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is, so you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. All right, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking your hand? Dude, we're not looking for yours, bitch. Oh my God. Go ahead, take my fingerprints. Why? Why would we? Why? It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Oh, come on. This isn't the time for jokes. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh, I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? Bitch, you was not joking. Okay, come on. Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check for prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then once they've been absorbed by the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. All right, let's get this over with. Right, she acting like we don't know what we're doing right now. All right, dust, dust, dust. Or can I hold it? No, I gotta like spam it. There we go. Da 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 da. And let's blow. There we go. Is this good enough? Nope. Okay. Gotta do a little more. Gotta do a little more. Okay, there we go. And bam. Alright, so let's look. Okay, not that one. It is not that one. 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 It's that one. Emma's. That's Emma's. Oh. That's Emma's. Hello? No. How can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match. Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma for now. Okay, here. Maybe you should hold on to this. Piece of, okay. Why are her fingerprints on that? Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to you, your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now, that's not very kind. Oh, shit. Gant is here. In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Oh, Lord. Isn't that right, you and the coach? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He gonna get fired, y'all. Today's his last day. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you in the coat. Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way out. Oh, he's getting fired, y'all. You won't be needed anymore. But sir, uh-oh. Now, get out. Oh, we got him fired, y'all. Damn. We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I like a word with you. But sir, I'm not a licensed you with the spiky hair. You're free to go. Oh, you're not about to interrogate her and try to get her to conceal some evidence or whatever. He's gonna try to intimidate her, y'all. He's gonna try to intimidate her. Mr. Wright, you don't have to do it, baby. You don't. Look, pal, I've told you, once I've told you, 1,000 times, the chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? Well, first of all, bitch, you went with us. So we snuck in there, okay? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it would be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal. Good luck. Good luck with that. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really? I believe I did. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. All right, now talk. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion, a certain individual, you say. So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? The one that might... Okay, him. Well, Miss Guy? Right, you're scared of him, right? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a little bit more about what you think you know? Sure. We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective. Assuming he was respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Gant falsified evidence. Oh, sure thing. Take that! I just found this in the safe in the chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence from the incident. The person concealing evidence was none other than Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Speak up. Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmise, I cannot disobey the chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman, or perhaps I should say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate than cooperate. So what were your orders? Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. So that's what you were doing. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the incident, serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him, so I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That will be Edgeworth's knife, and that will be why the other lady, Star, thought that she saw her stabbing him. She was just stabbing an already dead body. Got it. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage in your right hand. Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then, she saw me just as I plunged a knife in him. Mrs. Starr, huh? Yep, so it's all come together now. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be open again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and asked her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma. I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. Oh, that would explain why Emma was so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received these orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden. I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seemed that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room. It's so many moving pieces, y'all. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial, there's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer, Gant, and what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Gant did something, obviously. We know he did. We know. The defendant lobby all right, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who's the owner of the whatever number is that is? Well, I have a pretty strong hunch that it's that bitch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But you didn't do it. I figured you say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? Right, let's get this over with. Come on now. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Alright, let's get into it. Let's send Mr. Leatherface to jail. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. What? What he gotta say? What? What, bitch? Lord. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, G, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. See, look, he's trying to make everybody laugh right now so that way he doesn't have to go to jail later. But I see what you're doing, and I'm not falling for it, bitch. Come on now. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Get to it. Come on. Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Come on. Lana. Stand up. Come on. I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana. Come on now, Lana. Come on. Jesus, come on. Stand up for yourself. You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Objection! Yeah, come on now. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage will certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand it's a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? Oh, he's showing his true colors, y'all. He's showing his true colors behind the orange. Come on now. Huh. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. He said, watch your tone, bitch, before I check it for you. That's right, Edgeworth. He said, what? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes? Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? That everyone operates as you do, Worthy. Oh, I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Sky. I request the court hears her testimony. Said Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Sky. I don't care what you have to say, bitch. Let's go. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Let's go. Edgeworth talking that good shit. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this, mark my words. Miss Emma Sky, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the rein. My name is Emma Sky. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you've encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes, I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. Right, this judge sucks, bro. Like, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. All right, the trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. So let's go. Let's finally see what's happening. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. I don't think so. I don't think so. No. That was in his back, ma'am. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. It wasn't the chest, Miss Ma'am. It was in the back. So, what you talking about? Your Honor, that statement contradicts his evidence. It does? I don't see anything. Man, come on! Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my fuck. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under then Deputy Police of Chief of Police Gant. God damn. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. The Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Sky used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day, too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. Man, yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Gant and Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assumed that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that was when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then, but Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then the lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Let's hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That was what was so scary about the trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Oh, a picture. Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Let's ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Yes, it did. On the back. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. There we go. Okay, so let's present that. There we go. Music stopped. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list of the incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? What's this? This is why you always check the front and back of stuff, y'all. Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Always check the front and back. Indeed, 2 men appear to be wrestling. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? Yep, you were duped again. Come on now. But Miss Sky, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. So you ain't look, hold on, Edgeworth, you ain't look at the back of the list this whole time that you had it? You ain't flipping back and forth? You already thought half the list was missing? Like, come Come on now. Yes, it's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Yep, there's something on it. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. That thing. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. This thing is haunting me. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Okay. All right. Jesus, Lord. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Are we finally going to, like, add up the little handprint that's on the little freaky thing and the handprint that, you know what, never mind. They're probably not going to. Flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. All right, let's just press everything, because whenever I go straight to presenting, it's bad, so. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge under the direction of Gant and Sky. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in our mind. So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. As I thought, the flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? It's not my fault. I'm not the bad guy. Anyway, this picture. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detective. Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? That's strange. She claims it's exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. So now I think it's this, but I don't know if the game is gonna let me know it. So let me see. Objection! Oh, it will. Okay, got it. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of the picture contradicts the story? Well, the tip, it looks like a stick. That's what it looks like. So, take that! The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? The tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. Nope. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Thank you. What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. No. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. What does that mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. Listen, that's why I asked her so many times. She was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this was the broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Come on now. You should be used to forged evidence by now, Edgeworth. Come on now. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony then. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. Listen, there must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Could there have been one? No. Another broken knife? Yes! Yes, there is. There's another one. If the witness is adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright, in that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at the real, So, wasn't it that? Hold on. Listen, the answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Okay, the music stops. I was right. Okay, right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award prosecutor Marshall is holding. That right there. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Yup. And guess who has it? Gant. Let's get him to jail. Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon that he had in dangerous situations. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because of the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, and the murderer and the victim would be reserved. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Oh? Wait! I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. So what? All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. So what does this have to do? Like, I'm tired of seeing this thing, man. Come on. So when I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. And I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in a room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may... Oh, stop, please. Don't pursue this any further. Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defense. Ooh. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Damn, they detained her. When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at least I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. Then that Dark guy knocked me down. All I could think was, I've got to help that other person. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast and I was in shock. I don't remember anything clearly. And what I did, it was all kind of a blur. Miss Guy was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Are you sure about this? Of course, see? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I've seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought the thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? Shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with his winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. What thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago? The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation? If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw that when that lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger? I might know. Haven't even been dreamt even when Emma drew this picture, but yet she is certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense belief that on the fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something similar that looks similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! In this room? What is it that the witness saw in an instant? What is Badger like? That has points, but it's not as curved. Is it this? Take that! Yes, it is! The mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this. What's that? Exactly what is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger. Indeed it doesn't, as it stands now. It's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Okay, so let's rotate this. Bam. There we go. I think that's it. That's it, right? Wouldn't this be it? To make it look like that? Take that! Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god, I gotta get at the right angle. Okay. Is this right? Take that! That's what I've been trying to do the whole goddamn fucking time. I said, well, this is a miracle or what? Jeez, I said, man. I did this like 3 times. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the Blue Badger. I said, no, it can't be. Oh, that was infuriating. I knew what I was trying to do. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witness on the day of the crime is actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed? Very well then, please tell us, what's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The murder weapon. Hello? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out, so this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would have he hit? A suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Yep, there we go. He got knocked back, and the actual murder weapon was the damn armor. Are you lost, Judge? You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Aw, damn. Wow, Emma. Don't that suck to realize? Shit. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was a witness who took the victim's life and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. I hope they're not going to arrest Emma. And that's probably what she was scared of. So what are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How could you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll only have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Huh, touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. Oh, you mean there's still another one? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. They pulling a dangin' romper on us, y'all. They pulling a Leon on us. Come on now. Come on. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us that piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Isn't it the blood on this thing? Take that! This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, this is going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's just forgotten that it's just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is that these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to leave him a message behind. One that someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. So all we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. Ooh, uh-oh. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. Oh, shit. Now, will the letters be, like, in English or, like, Japanese? Because I don't know. I said there's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Let's see. Shit. Let's see. Oh, right there. Well, right here, right? Take that! What do you think? I came up with this message. Yes. I feel like I'm teaching. Oh my God! Do I okay, fuck it. All right. How do I do it? Okay, so that, see, all right, there we go. Bam. Bam. And then bam. And then bam. And then boom. 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 And that's it, right? That's it, right? There we go. Okay, I didn't see the thing that let me, like, connect it. Fuck it, whatever. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. And that's what she was trying to hide, trying to protect her little sister. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Ain't that something? Ain't that something, man? Damn. Can't say I didn't warn you. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Oh, my God. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. I'm sorry, weren't you just hiding evidence in your safe? Come on now. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. Yeah, so what about you, bitch? I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. And whatever, man. Get this man gone. Oh, Lord. Get him gone, y'all. I'm tired of him. Gavels pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Of course. Sheesh, man. Just get this man in jail. I'm so tired of him. Oh, my God. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Yes, you are. Yeah, you are. Yes, I am. I'll come back later. Aw, poor Gumshoe. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence of law. Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Him, so Gant. I'm guessing I'll need to give this book a thorough read. 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that'll do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Haven't you figured out yet? I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me, Mr. Edgeworth. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. Yep, and we're going to expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Can we please? I feel like we've been on this case for centuries, okay? Good Lord. The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Of course. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but... Oh, so this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness? It's not just that, it's just, you see, everyone has been talking in. Very well, Your Honor, I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It will prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance? If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense call, oh shit. The time has finally come. You, bitch. I want to talk to you. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. As a defense partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. There you go. Get your bitch ass over here. Chief. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Bitch, name and occupation. Here you go. So, you want to play hardball? Please, Mr. Gant. Just say it, bitch. Name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this incident. Oh, you mean the time that Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. They need to change the laws. They need to change the laws because if that's the case, the police could just go ahead and do whatever they want. You know what? Actually, that is how the system is built. Never mind. Just clicked. Never mind. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. Yeah, so get to talking, bitch. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. But you hid evidence in your safe. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. Yep, he got stabbed there. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. As I recall, the ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil also was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that! The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went into his heart, though. It's not like he don't even care. That's not funny, right? Like, he don't even care. How could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. How can you know that? Because the victim's body had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yes. Anyway, so you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Worthy, always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. It could be this too, though. Fuck it, let's try it. So you claim you had nothing to do with the forgery? I can't believe y'all, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list for example. That's the list Emma Skye drew her picture on. That was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Thank you. And he's wearing gloves. That should say something. What's the meaning of this? Here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, bitch? First of all, however, Detective Gumshoe was presenting during the investigation. And Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. I mean, we do that with taxes, Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Are you calling us dumb, bitch? Are you calling us dumb? Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Okay, all right. Yes, Your Honor, when investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh, indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, G. In return, though, I know. That place, right? Huh? What y'all talking about? Are y'all trying to have dinner after this or some shit? Like, what? I'd appreciate if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch. Why are you saying this? Why are you saying this? Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. Oh, it'd just be hiding evidence. I'm sorry. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet, right? It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after dark was set. Materialized? Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, so as long as you can't rule that out, your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Righto, think about it. Let's see, how can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered you? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Sky. Well, now do you see? Really, Chief Gant, at the very least, there is only one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is the benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police. The resolution of the incident secured your promotion to chief. That in itself is a sufficient move. So that's a good one. What? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. Resolution of the case merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. For Lana to get her in his back pocket? Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Oh, now he won't change it. Okay. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Right, he gets to do whatever. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Yes. Yeah, true, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying he's using people as pawns, okay? Very well then. Who is this person? Okay, yup. You, Miss Higgins. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky, the defendant? Yep, I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Come on now. Emma Sky fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. Yep. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job was you, Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the prosecutor as his puppet. Like I've been saying, you guys, come on. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets, bitch? You're a puppet. You're a puppet at this point, if you don't even understand what's going on. The whole court is surprised by your dumbass. Come on. You must mean yes. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she's testifying against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial, almost as if someone has been controlling her. And she was ordered to move the body. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. Or what, bitch? What you gonna do? I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? He's like openly threatening people in this court. How is he able to do that? I don't care if he's a chief of police. He shouldn't be able to do that. What he means, Your Honor, is that the Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. Yup. Come on now. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious, huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency to accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? Yeah, it's possible. Come on, open your eyes. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in an easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. All right then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. All right. The list. I think it's the IDs because we know his ID number. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits. You don't mean? Yes, I do. I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was all them 7s. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. We got his ass. We got that ass. Let's go. What do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant? I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant. I think it's that. Right? On that day, Detective Goodman had to go to see Chief Gant. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. That was wrong. Okay, fuck it. Okay. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filed out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know you asked? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Thank you. Let's get it next. Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I guess the chief of police murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just let him his ID card. Yes, now that you mention it, I believe... Shut up. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it wouldn't have been found on his body. Yep, got that ass. Got that ass. Let's go. Chief Gant, you did it. The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence with you to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was just a useless clue, just taking up space. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, he used this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Now it's starting to click. I was asked to go by Chief Gant. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office, but you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. Yep, yes it was. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation: to transport the body to your accomplice, Mrs. Lana Skye, without him even knowing. Yep, there's no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations. Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe that you're caught. Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. Bitch, I don't give a fuck about your senior citizens fucking brunch or whatever y'all are gonna have, okay? We getting you to jail. He's trying to have his last meal, y'all. He's trying to have his last meal and make sure the season right because he know he going to jail. He know. So, but the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have any proof? No proof yet. Like I heard her say it. I don't technically right now. So it's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Aji? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgy, I'll leave the rest to you. So he gets to just leave? Are you serious? Are y'all serious? I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Oh my God. Oh? Lady Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial, Lana. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth, another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse. There's still someone else, one witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial, someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? He gonna make me guess it. Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Had you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth. We can just stop now. Yes, Your her? I mean, the defendant, Lana Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body in accordance with someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the testimony. This court is now... Hold on. Huh? You're back again? Go to your lunch. Go. I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. So now he's going to try to manipulate her, right? Okay. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. So he gets to just threaten people? Come on now. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Oh, this isn't good. Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. All right then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Lana, don't fall for that. Stand up. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. She better stand up. Come on now. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else. Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. Oh, sorry about that. Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office. Excuse me? My office? I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he meet? No. Looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? That there's consequences? Risks. What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Emma, are you okay? Yeah. When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery, so she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I've said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Now I finally know what happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man, and she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her, she had said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders, she must have shut herself up deep inside to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now, I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you, as we all know. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Let's go. Let's get it done, okay? I'm tired. I want to go for a lunch break. Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. She better tell the truth, bro. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. I'm getting tired. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course, I'm sure. But Lana... If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But what if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiflingly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may... Okay, yeah. She's lying again, bro. Stop making it hard. Oh, my God. How many years exactly? Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that'll be 5 years. Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia. Damon Gant was a respectable detective, that's why. But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as such yesterday in jail. You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. Oh my God, bitch. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana, so that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Why would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's the only situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change the statement. You mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. You planted the oh, okay. They did it so fast. But why? Why did you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of others. Why did you plant the knife? Huh. Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Tell me! Very well, let's add this to the witness testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right? Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted when beaten by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound. Yes, because I hated Dark for what he did. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it, period. Are you so desperate to hide the fact that you're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying. Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone. I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. Piece of the jar, you mean? Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, if I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. So, when you first found the body, the jar was all ready. Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. I see. What's the matter, Emma? Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed, but I have a feeling there's more to it than that. There must be a contradiction here somewhere. Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. Don't think so, because why was there blood written on it? And it's on the surface, so no. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered. If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction in my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. Do you have a problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. Yep, in order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died. So he couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. So get that right. Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together information to arrive at the truth. Very well, the witness may now continue her testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well, the defense may, okay. All right, let's just press everything. She's making my head hurt right now. She is. So the jar was already broken? It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case, but not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you do that for me? It seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene. Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After all, we've gotten to the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony. Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. She's still not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Let's press this again. I was right. Okay, thank God. So Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals the truth even you were unaware of. We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. It was Gant, because he took a piece and put it in safe. Gant got there before you. Yep. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? No. I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may very well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my... Bitch, we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could be written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Nope. The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Yeah. Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Exactly. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hide one of the broken pieces. Question, what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence? He said, but why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing her. And therein lies the reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet. He said, I did it on my own. Please, stop trying to protect him. I can't watch you suffer any more for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. I guess you do seem the type person likes to twist the truth. Excuse me? Come on now, Judge. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana may be right after all. What do you mean, right? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? No, not that. Miss Sky, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will if you tell the truth. Come on, bitch. I'm tired. Thank you. Testify about what you saw, please. The witness may testify once more for the final time. Like, come on, bro. Like, you've testified I don't know how many times. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me to remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armored sword? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. Oh? I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What, to me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright, she really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. And what? Is it on the back? Oh! There it is. Oh shit. She said, there's a picture here. That's why she gave it to me. Oh my, this is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Oh my god. That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be cloth we found inside the safe? Yep, we did. But it had Emma's print on it. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints is, that might be the real murderer. Oh girl, don't say that, because it's yours. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flesh out the real murderer. Very well. Okay, let's go. Ooh. I didn't get to say anything. Oh, here you go. Oh my god, bro. Come on now, Edgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. What now? You want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Oh my god. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that wrist we were talking about earlier. Just sit back and relax. And enjoy the sound of your noose tightening around your own neck. That's right! That's right, Edgeworth! So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Rido? Huh? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? What do you have? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is that true, Mr. Wright? Oh, it's the handprint. Oh, shit. If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you'll be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really can... Because that's gonna... No, you can't do it. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Was it what? You lie! He said, you opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. But didn't you say that it wasn't in there, bitch? The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Thank you. You weren't supposed to have it, bitch. Right. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Rido. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? Oh, now he gonna try to fabricate something else now, watch. I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence you mean those items in your safe. But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it always was best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? Yeah, you had it. I hit the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Oh, that's true. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance. You mean the piece of cloth? Come on, Rido, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you could admit to it then, Chief Gant. Then you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Rido. You should have known it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up, here, victory is mine. Can I show it or can I not? Let's just show it. Show it. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. All right, then. Let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence to show. Oh, okay. Yeah. That shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Let's see. It's that. There we go. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh, yes. At least you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. That's handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it, Righto. Had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It's Emma's. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... It's her, but I don't want to snitch on her. Emma. Emma Sky? So they're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. So why didn't you tell me? It had to be done. I'm sorry. Huh. So you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still trying to pin the murder on me? So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster. Miss Sky, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. I said this trial isn't over yet. But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. Please, what's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? Huh, I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Because how was it cut off? How are we not thinking about that? This piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the evidence that contradicts this cloth. Is it? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of cloth was of the vest was cut out? Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth has no blood on it. It has none. There's no blood on it. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword on time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He was most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armored sword? Not a 14-year-old girl. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood, a jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. Yep, got your ass. Now, come on, I don't want to see your face no more. It's finally over. Sheesh, can we get him, please? Please. Oh my God. What? Oh, what? He said that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Oh my God. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegation. What do you mean you refute his allegation? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. How? What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Aji? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. But you concealed everything in your safes. What do you mean? Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. You actually think you can best me in court? It looks like the last laughs on you, son. But you held everything you safe. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, true, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? No. I admit I refused to present it at one point. So the evidence is illegal. No. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, as you don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe. That's what you said in the beginning, so there's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation... yes I can. The book. The book. There we go. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. You see, it's written right here in this book, the second rule of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the incident. What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at the picture Sorry, but you can recall, when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. He sure did. Yup. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. And that's you. The killer was you. Yup, get that ass. Oh, now you won't laugh at all. Yep, lose your mind now. Lose your mind now, sir. Oh my God. Yeah, go ahead and faint. Go ahead and faint, sir. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years, he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Good job, Marshall. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. And what'd he say? What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened this evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up the incident. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Oh, so you can just get a new... Okay, all right. Leaving the prosecution's car aside. How? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah, it looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. And that's why you're in jail now, bitch. Now go. I don't care. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They did their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. On one day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go do it alone. Man, y'all are not alike. Come on, just take your guilty sentence and let's go. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. Having lunch with the enemy. Look at you, stupid judge. I'm sorry too, Gant. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious whatever. Go to jail. Go to jail. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes, first, your sister never hurt you. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years from the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today. So, it seems all the questions have raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky, I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Oh, is she proud of me now? This is the first time I've seen her smile. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky, and to you, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar, said I worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky, yes, Your Honor, you are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Finally, she can smile, like, thank God. Well, this trial has gone on for too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky, not guilty. And now for the other man, he is guilty. So, let's go. That is all. This court is adjourned. Thank you, God. I feel like I've been in this courtroom forever. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted of a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now after the trial ended. You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me. Hope I'm not interrupting it. Yes, you are. You always come at the worst time. You are. He said, yes, I am. I'll come back later. Right, move. Thank you. All right, then he's gonna be like, why'd you make me come back? Oh, are you here because of my sister again? Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see some. Oh, uh-oh. Lana, should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago, oh, I guess she's gonna tell all now, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realized I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were only doing it for me. No. I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Aw, now they're smiling now. Aw, that's nice. Good. Let's get this happy ending going. Okay. There we go. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on together a brighter future. There we go. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Huh? Stop hiding and come over here. He's always in the shadows lurking. Lord, so where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right. I'll be going now. He does not stick around. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth, oh my god, he's so emo, bro. Oh my god. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. I thought that thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime, but they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but let's think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, yeah. Is this a pop quiz? Come on, Mr. Wright, show him. Evidence. Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's, like, what the fuck? Like, this? Was it that? Was it the picture I drew? Our counterattack began with this. You had one half and he had one half. Apart, we couldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. He probably gonna cry. So what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let whatever happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know, it seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. Okay, I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catch up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will. Aw, that's sweet. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I'll have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. And what does that mean? Self-discovery? Like, what does that mean? He said, well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. What is it? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who will be fronting the bill. Huh? I said, what you think? I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me. So I gotta pay? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? He said, I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? That's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. He was like, no. Y'all pay it. All right, y'all. So that is the end of Rise from the Ashes. Lord, I feel like this trial took a fucking month to do. Like, good Lord, this trial just went way too long. And like, honestly, looking at Gant, like, why would you think that he's not the killer? Like, he looks like the killer. Look at his skin. Like, I'm telling y'all, anybody that doesn't take care of their skin is villainous. Okay, so like, and he wore gloves automatically, and he stared at your eyes for too long and made awkward like stares. So yeah, like he's the villain. Like, come on now. So I think there's more after this. I have to see. But if there is more, I can't tell you when the next episode is gonna come out, honestly. Okay, because I'm kind of busy right now, and the edited videos have been, you know, like coming out sporadically. I'm sorry, but like I've been busy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this whole series and this episode. And if you did, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll be back with this at some point and another series to continue. So I'll see y'all later, and this is